Now on CoastTV News.
Celebrating St. Patrick's Day, a parade in Milton bringing the community together. Bird flu vaccine, what award researchers at the University of Maryland received from the federal government. A oil depot hit by missiles in Iran as the U.S. confirms tragic news of another service member killed.
We're seeing clouds and mild conditions across Delmarva this evening, even showers farther to the south, a stationary boundary to the west, the air on the other side not cold. In fact, a big warm-up, maybe record highs midweek. Details coming up.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
A very tall leprechaun enjoying the parade with hundreds of people. Good evening, I'm Brandon Ferguson. Welcome to CoastTV News at 11. We begin tonight with a celebration in Milton. Leprechauns, music, and streets filled with green. CoastTV News reporter Kevin Zapay shows us all the fun from this year's parade.
The 18th annual St. Patrick's Day Parade took place in Milton, bringing custom-made floats, food and drinks, marching bands, and plenty of festive spirit.
I love the marching bands, and the bagpipes are my favorite.
Diane McMahon lives in Milton and never misses the opportunity to watch the parade.
I think it's wonderful. Children are here. It's a family event. It's also for everyone. It's the best town ever.
According to McMahon, she's noticing more and more people taking part in the parade, which is good news for Milton, as the parade raises funds for the fire department and Chamber of Commerce.
It's definitely a moneymaker.
Ben Carlson dressed up for the big day and loves everything about the parade, especially seeing the community come together.
It's the people, mostly, the music, the drinks. St. Patrick's Day is my favorite one. Yeah. Happy St. Patrick's Day!
If you missed this year's St. Patrick's Day parade here in Milton, don't worry, because there's more celebrations happening across Delmarva. I'm Kevin Zapay in Milton, CoastTV News.
In Ocean City, the annual St. Patrick's Day Parade steps off at noon on Saturday along Coastal Highway with an Irish festival at 45th Street, and parking starts at 11. The actual parade starts at noon. In Dewey Beach, the Starboard celebrates St. Patrick's Day during its opening weekend, March 13th through March 16th, with live music and events each day. And we're now going to take a live look into Milford and bring in First Alert meteorologist Bob Trahey. And Bob, it's finally starting to feel like spring.
Oh, absolutely, Brandon. Feeling a lot like spring. Of course, with longer days. Now we're into daylight saving time, so lighter later. It was very mild today and still mild this evening. 60 in Georgetown and Millsboro, 60 in Rehoboth, Bethany Beach, 65. Winds are coming in out of the west right now as we have a lot of clouds over the top of us. We had some sprinkles earlier on, but heavier showers southern tip of Delmarva into the Norfolk area, and even some thunderstorms across the Outer Banks of North Carolina. That's where the heavier activity is, as we have a stationary front back to our west. On the other side of this front, the air not very cold at all. Here's Futurecast overnight. We're going to see gradual clearing, and I think we will be seeing some fog developing from southeast to northwest as we go into the morning hours. So watch for that with temperatures in the 40s. And then by afternoon, 60s and 70s inland, but only 40s at the beaches. And I am concerned once again for some fog at the coast. So for your morning commute, leave extra time to get to your destination. Patchy fog with the yellow light and then the green light for mostly sunny skies in the afternoon. A big warm up, maybe record highs Wednesday. Details coming up.
Thank you, Bob. It's now been 8 days since missile strikes by the U.S. and Israel targeted Iran. Since then, a new supreme leader has emerged. Attacks are escalating across the region, and now another American has been killed in the war. NBC's Matt Bradley shows us the latest from the ground in Tel Aviv.
Tonight, Israeli and American missile strikes lighting up the skies over Iran for a 9th straight day, as U.S. Central Command reports that another American soldier has died, raising the death toll among U.S. service members to 7. CENTCOM said the soldier died from wounds sustained during an Iranian attack on Saudi Arabia a week ago. An Iranian state media has officially announced its new leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, the son of the Iranian leader who was assassinated last week. The 56-year-old was widely expected to be chosen and is considered a hardliner. Today, Israel threatened to kill the new leader and President Trump had insisted that he should be able to pick who's in charge of the country. An idea Iran's foreign minister rejected in an interview today with NBC's Kristen Welker.
Will Iran allow President Trump to have any role in picking its new leader?
We allow nobody to interfere in our domestic affairs. This is up to the Iranian people to elect their new leader.
It comes as there's a new focus for Israeli attacks: Iranian energy installations like this fuel depot and gas pipelines in the capital, Tehran. But Iran is still fighting back, saying today that it will expand its target list to include key assets and vital interests of the U.S. and Israel throughout the region, according to Iran's semi-official Fars news agency. U.S. Central Command warns civilians in Iran to avoid crowded areas. They say Iranian forces are using crowd cover to launch attack drones and ballistic missiles. The military offered no evidence to back up its claim. But even as the war widens, President Trump still isn't ruling out sending ground forces into Iran to secure enriched uranium.
Something we could do later on. We wouldn't do it now. Maybe we'd do it later.
The president blaming Iran for strikes that killed more than 170 people at a school, even as the administration's own assessment points to American responsibility. Now, advocacy group Human Rights Watch is calling for a war crimes investigation. Here in Israel, authorities say Iran is increasingly using a troubling weapon. So see this little hole? That's where the cluster munition fell into this house. Now, no one was injured here, but police say that Iran is using these more and more. Cluster munitions that spread tiny bomblets throughout areas like this, a residential area. Israeli police say these weapons are proof Iran is deliberately targeting civilians.
Because when you're using something like this that spreads up to 80 submunitions, raining over residential communities, the facts on the ground speak for themselves.
This is video from yesterday at the Dover Air Force Base. President Donald Trump, First Lady Melania, and Vice President J.D. Vance observed the dignified transfer of, at the time, 6 U.S. service members that have been killed. Again, that number is now at 7. Gas prices are climbing as the war with Iran disrupts global oil supplies, according to AAA. The national average for a gallon of gas has jumped from about $3.45, just up 47 cents from last week. Diesel prices are also surging, which could drive up the cost of shipping and goods worldwide. Back here on Delmarva, a human trafficking investigation is taking place at a massage parlor in Salisbury. The police department says it was alerted to possible trafficking activity involving prostitution happening at the Thai Spa on North Salisbury Boulevard. On Wednesday, law enforcement, including the FBI, executed a warrant at the massage parlor. Police say the Thai Spa is currently closed as the investigation continues in Salisbury. The federal government has awarded $2 million to the researchers at the University of Maryland. The funding comes from the U.S. Department of Agriculture as the current outbreak, the largest in U.S. history of bird flu, has infected more than 170 million birds. The poultry industry has largely rejected bird flu vaccines because many countries do not accept vaccinated chickens. The vaccine being developed would not use live virus, which differs from a bird flu vaccine that has already been developed.
It is at an early stage of development, so we have a candidate vaccine that we have shown induces good immune responses. So we are quite confident that we will be able to make a successful product. As far as a timescale, I can't speak to that directly.
The Delmarva Chicken Association said Friday it agrees with the National Chicken Council that a bird flu vaccine will not have their stamp of approval unless there are robust export market protections. Since December, the Brian Allen Stevenson School of Excellence in Georgetown has been under review by the Delaware Department of Education. A state committee found problems with enrollment, finances, and how the school is managed. State officials say the school must show stronger enrollment growth and written commitments from families if it hopes to remain open. A public hearing is set for tomorrow at 5 p.m. at Delaware's Georgetown Del Tech campus, where community members can share their input and a final decision on the school's future. That is on March 19th. Here is a look inside the Rehoboth Beach Library now. Half of the inside is open and half is closed since early December for a brand new AC system, 2 new study rooms, and better internet capacity for the entire library. For those upgrades to be completed on time, over $1 million needs to be raised in the next year.
We're still raising a little bit of money for phase 1. And then we're raising all the money for phase 2. Some of it overlaps, like the roof we've put into phase 1, but it's the whole roof. The HVAC, like some upgrades you have to do simultaneously.
The total cost of the renovations comes in at $9.8 million. Now, $7.8 million of that was funded by both state and federal money. The library needs to raise the rest of around that $2 million mark for construction to finish on time. And the goal for the entire renovation is to be complete by next spring. Grandpa Mac, the popular local restaurant on Coastal Highway in Rehoboth Beach, is closing their doors after a decade. The owner saying after announcing the closure, the community showed up in a big way over the last few days. In a Facebook post, Grandpa Mac mentioned a Mac food truck is coming soon. In Sussex County, major changes to how development is approved could be moving forward this week. On Tuesday, County Council is expected to introduce at least 5 new ordinances recommended by the county's Land Use Reform Working Group. The proposals would impact things like affordable housing projects, open space requirements, and subdivision rules. Supporters say the goal is to better manage growth while preserving rural land. Each measure would still have to be reviewed by the Planning and Zoning Commission, and final approval comes from County Council before becoming law. In Milton, drivers kept the police department busy in the month of January. On Monday, the town released a breakdown of the numbers of speeding offenses. According to town documents, the number of speeders in January was 64. In December, that number was just at 36. If you live in Ocean City and your utility provider is Delmarva Power, you're going to want to listen to this. 22nd Street tomorrow will not have power from around 8 a.m. until 2 p.m. tomorrow, Monday, March 9th. And they don't say the reason, but typically for outages like this are due to maintenance and improvements. U.S. lawmakers from Virginia are advocating for protection of the Chincoteague Inlet from further erosion. Congresswoman Jen Kiggins and Senator Tim Kaine recently sent letters urging the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to fund a long-awaited feasibility study of the inlet. Now, that study must be completed before any intervention can happen, but the wait is costing Chincoteague precious time and land. The letters sent to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers proposed 2 timelines. One that would see funds secured for the study in fiscal year 2026, and the other, if that cannot happen, in the president's budget for fiscal year 27. The national battle over redistricting is taking center stage in Virginia. Early voting is now underway in Virginia for a controversial redistricting referendum. Democrats currently hold 6 of the state's 11 U.S. House seats, but a proposed map could give them a 10-to-1 advantage. If voters approve the measure, the General Assembly would be allowed to redraw congressional districts ahead of the November midterms. Leaders on Virginia's Eastern Shore say a shift in representation could slow progress on local priorities, and that referendum is set for April 21st. The Do More 24 Delaware campaign, Delaware's biggest day of giving, has wrapped up earlier this week after 24 hours of donations. The event began Thursday night at 6 p.m. and ran through Friday at 6 p.m. Organizers say the campaign raised more than $2.4 million for Delaware nonprofits, more than 20,000 individual donors from all 50 states. Still to come here on Coast TV News at 11, trees still down at farms, how farmers are handling long-lasting damage from the recent blizzard.
An incredibly mild first day of daylight saving time with the sun going down shortly after 7 and a gorgeous sunset at that. 69 the high, 60 the low just a few moments ago. Normal's now 53 and 34. We're in the 70s the next few days, near record highs Wednesday, then a cold front with rain later in the week. Forecast details coming up.
Tributes and upgrades to the Wilmington DMV. The location will reopen after December's tragedy. That's up next on Coast TV News at 11. The Wilmington DMV is set to reopen this week, months after it closed following the murder of Delaware State Trooper Ty Snook, who was working an overtime shift on December 23rd. The building has been renovated with new safety features, including metal detectors, separate entrances and exit areas, and security staffs have their own door. Inside, a glass-enclosed greeter station will be staffed by a state trooper with additional areas where law enforcement can monitor the lobby.
We've obviously just, again, looked at ways at how we can make this a more secure facility that's still able to serve. You know, on an average week, we have about 3,000 customers come through this facility.
McLeod says therapy services are being offered to workers at the Wilmington DMV. A new nonprofit is being formed to honor fallen state trooper Ty Snook and to support families facing similar loss. The Ty Snook Foundation is being created to help the spouses and children of fallen officers across the country to build connections, share experiences, and find long-term support. The Delaware DMV is warning people about a text scam. Fake messages claiming people owe money for traffic or toll violations and urging them to click a link to pay by a specific deadline. The texts say you could lose your car registration or driving privileges if you do not pay. According to the DMV, these messages are scams designed to steal money and gain access to personal and financial information. Do not click any links or provide any information to these scams. This empty boardwalk will soon be filled with thousands of music lovers during this year's Oceans Calling Music Festival. But what bands are coming to Ocean City? That's next. But first, Bob Trihey, he's in the First Alert Weather Center. He's tracking a cold front, but not too cold. Behind it, in fact, a big warm-up coming this week. He has your full forecast after this.
We saw lots of clouds to end the weekend, even a few sprinkles across Delmarva, but that really didn't dampen the temperatures. Salisbury 72, even Ocean City 72, 69 in Georgetown, 72 in Cambridge, Wallops Island at 73 degrees. We're looking at the Tyler Health Cam right now in Salisbury and looking nice and quiet. And tonight we're looking at gradual clearing. I am concerned about fog developing, especially at the coast, very late tonight and into tomorrow morning, with temperatures falling back into the 40s with 50s at the beaches. And then Monday through Wednesday, a big warm up. Temperatures in the 70s inland, 60s at the coast, could even be colder than that. The warmest day looks to be Wednesday with near record highs at that time. And right now, this is unbelievable for this time of year, how warm it is at the 11 o'clock hour. 60 in Georgetown, Delmar 64, Salisbury 63, only 48 in Ocean City, 65 in Bethany Beach, and 63 in Rehoboth. Now we have a stationary boundary back to our west right now, and on the other side of that, the air is really not all that cold. It is 48 in Winchester, 59 in Roanoke. So once this front comes through, you're not going to really feel any cold air. In fact, the air is quite mild as we're looking at a light westerly breeze right now. We're seeing some cloud cover. We had some sprinkles earlier on, and even a few showers down near Cape Charles, down into the Norfolk area. And they had some heavier thunderstorms across the Outer Banks of North Carolina earlier on. But all this is sinking off to the south and east as we're watching this boundary sagging to the southeast. And then the air behind it, as I mentioned, is not all that cold. The real cold air is north, back into Canada. This is air of Pacific origin that's moving across the area. So it's not going to be cold behind this front. Here is Futurecast at midnight. We're looking at those clouds starting to diminish, and then it's chilly into the mid to upper 40s as we go into Monday morning. Then I think we're going to be seeing coastal fog. Some of that could be thick. And then as we go into the noon hour, that breaks up inland areas, still foggy at the coast, and a big contrast, 40s and 50s at the beaches in the afternoon, but 60s and low 70s well inland. And then I think the fog could get really thick as we go into Tuesday morning. Watch for that, with temperatures in the 50s. And then look at this, upper 70s by 3 p.m. on Tuesday, inland areas, and maybe a 30-degree temperature contrast with 40s and 50s at the coast. You have to bundle up there while you can have the summer clothes inland areas. As we are watching for that fog tomorrow morning, that burns off. And then into Tuesday, I think that fog could definitely be more widespread, as along the coast, morning fog for Rehoboth, Dewey Beach, back through Chincoteague and Ocean City with temperatures into the 50s. And then we have high pressure moving offshore. Monday through Wednesday, a big ridge sets up, temperatures soaring into the 70s with temperatures 15 to 25 degrees above normal as we're dry and warm Monday through Wednesday. Thursday is our best chance for rain. As we're tracking a cold front, I think we're going to see a lot of wind picking up too. Rain, and then, oh my goodness, we could be looking at some wintry precipitation. This model is the outlier. This is a European model, but I don't think we're looking at accumulating snow, as it is a little cooler behind that front. 45 tonight, gradual clearing, fog develops late. 70 tomorrow, gorgeous start to the week. Paul Day have a 7-day forecast. Mid-70s Tuesday, perhaps near record temperatures Wednesday, upper 70s, and then 60 with mainly rain right now on Thursday, 51 Friday, and then mid-50s, cool and dry into the weekend.
Thank you, Bob. Please, no more snow. That's what farmers across Sussex County are hoping for, as well, as they are still cleaning up from last week's blizzard. Sections of farm fencing were destroyed, leaving property lines open and creating costly repairs. But the issue isn't not just the cost. As Sussex County continues to grow and develop, farmers say wildlife is getting pushed towards their farmlands, making those fences all the more important.
As development has its grip on Sussex County, especially southeastern Sussex County where we live, wildlife, especially deer, have nowhere to go. So they go to what remaining farmland is left, and they can eat our crops, they can damage our trees. So we have to invest heavily in deer fence to keep them out of our orchards in order to protect our crops from losses.
Farmers say that repairs can cost up to over $5,000. The 2026 Oceans Calling lineup came out this week, headlined by the Dave Matthews Band. 21 pilots and more iconic musicians. They're making their way to Oceans Calling, and people in town are already planning their music getaway. Events like these bring large crowds and millions of dollars to Ocean City, something both fans and local businesses are excited about. We spoke with the marketing and communications director in Ocean City, who said Oceans Calling 2025 sold out with more than 50,000 tickets sold. The festival generated over $100 million for the local economy. The town is hoping for 2026 to be another sellout year. Coming up, a shocking job report. How many jobs in the U.S. were lost in February? The U.S. economy lost 92,000 jobs in February, while the unemployment rate ticked up to 4.4%. The Bureau of Labor Statistics says it's the third payroll decline in 5 months. Healthcare, information services, manufacturing, and federal government jobs all saw losses. Despite the weaker job report, wages still rose slightly last month. Former President Barack Obama's new presidential center will officially open to the public on June 19th. Obama made the announcement yesterday, saying the opening will coincide with Juneteenth celebrations. The site has been under construction in Chicago's South Side since ground was broken back in 2021. The project has been slowed by lawsuits and some local complaints. A grand opening ceremony will take place a day before and will include people who worked with and supported President Obama. After the break here on Coast TV News at 11, as we take a dark look into the Rehoboth Beach Boardwalk, we have a final check on your forecast. You're looking at 302 Day celebrations yesterday at the Dogfish Head Brewery in Milton. The event was presented by the 302 Horseshoe Crab. It was to celebrate the state and brush off some of those winter blues. People and their four-legged friends from all over gathered to play cornhole and enjoy some food and drinks from local vendors. Organizers say they were able to raise over $7,000 for the Delaware State Parks from event fundraising. Popcorn popping all across Ocean City as the 10th anniversary of the Ocean City Film Festival wrapped up today, and you could see films this weekend at venues like the Cambria Hotel, the Dough Roller, and the Princess Royal Resort, hosted for people to watch all kinds of films and hear directly from the directors. This weekend saw a variety of films including feature films, short films, documentaries, and student films. And each Friday, you can cheer up with a weekly dose of local good news from CoastTV. It's full of features, cool things to do each weekend, and more. You can sign up now for a Feel Good Friday at newsletter at coasttv.com/signup. And Bob, this weather will finally make you feel good. Finally.
Absolutely, Brandon. Yeah, we're looking at temperatures well into the 70s, so I think we're all feeling good about that. Not feeling good about the chances for fog in the morning. I gave it the yellow alert, so off to work and school at the coast, especially patchy fog, but then beautiful by the afternoon. I gave it the green light, mostly sunny and near 70. Call the Coast TV First Alert weather phone, sponsored by Brockstead, Mandalis, Federico. Paul Davis 10-day forecast. Watch for thick fog Tuesday morning, otherwise mid-70s there. Upper 70s Wednesday, maybe a record. I'm going plain rain on Thursday. There's a chance, Brandon, of a few snowflakes mixed in. Not looking at anything big. Dry and cool into the weekend. Right now, looking wet and cold for St. Patrick's Day. Maybe some flakes there, and a high of 41 degrees. So not done with the cold quite yet, and maybe not the snowflakes either.
Thank you, Bob. We'll keep an eye on it. Thank you, and thank you for joining us here for Coast TV News at 11. For more news and local weather, you can download our Coast TV News app. We'll see you in just a few hours for Coast TV News today, starting at 5 a.m. Have a great night.